Welcome back to the Bike Specialist. It is Ducati day today. James, can you remember how you reacted when the 999 came out to replace that iconic 916 shaped bike?
The Tambrini shape from the 916 to the 999. I was mortified.
Yeah,
It was like it's the ugly
exactly
duckling
the same.
bike. It was like, and it wasn't well received at all when this bike first came out. And they actually struggled to sell this bike. Ducati did.
I can remember as a spotty, horrible little youth thinking, what have they done? They've ruined it. And like 20 years on, how wrong were we?
Exactly, and it's people now, it's gone from the ugly duckling to people really want this bike. It's gone extremely desirable.
And it looks amazing. Like
it does.
It's hard to believe
That's
that
right.
we reacted so badly. Like we weren't alone. Everybody, not everybody, lots of people hated. The man behind the camera, Al, liked this bike from day one, so he's having a little smug moment there, but he's over there, so we can ignore him.
Man, you look at his trainers.
All the normal people, all the normal people thought this was hideous, and now it looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
It really does, and the closer you get to it as well, and you can see all the detail, Olin suspension, carbon bodywork, just absolutely beautiful. Only weighs 180 kilos as well.
185.
185. All right, okay, that's wet then.
I think you're fine.
Yeah, stunning motorcycle. It really, really is.
So this one's an R. This is a Mark 1. So there's Mark 2s and 1s.
That's right.
This is a 999R Mark 1. I mean,
the Mark IIs are noticeably quite different actually, and they do command more money now. But very desirable bike, and like I was saying, it's quite funny how something undesirable has turned so desirable.
Yeah, I have to say, out of all of the Ducatis,
yes,
out of all the V-twin Ducatis, forgetting Panigales for a minute, this is, even though I acknowledge it's a beautiful looking thing, I would still pick a 998 or a 1098 over this.
And I think I would too.
Which is unfair, isn't it?
Yeah, it is unfair, but let's see what you think to it out on the road.
I'm excited, and I'm hoping that after a good day on it, I can maybe get over my reaction to the styling as a kid and start loving it a bit. But yeah, phenomenal bit of kit. It's 154 horsepower, old school V-twin Ducati. It's going to be a blinding bit of kit to ride. It's the thinking man's V-twin Ducati.
Definitely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Neither of us are thinking then. Come on, 999, here's your chance to shine. Let's get out and send it.
Let's do it.
I know Ducati have gone chasing V4s in terms of performance, and got a Panigale V4 is a phenomenal bit of kit, but nothing quite touches a Ducati V-twin. They're just so special. It's different to the 998s in that it feels like the riding position is much more stretched out, much more spacious. For me, it feels very long riding position. You can imagine why the Rubens Alps would have fitted on one of these.
I can't think of another motorcycle that went from being so, hated's a strong word, but so disliked to so liked in a 20-year lifespan. I really can't think of another one. When this thing came out, it did ruffle a few feathers. This is actually a really, really good Ducati V-twin for riding on the road. Forget about what it looks like. It's a damn good ride.
It seems to steer in a real nice balance of being long and stable and unflappable, but you can actually get it to change direction quickly. It's a really, really well thought out bike.
Before we get into the detail of this 999, massive thanks to the bike specialists for letting us take their bikes out and thrash the pants off them. Look at the state of it, it's covered in bugs. We have had a good day. And also to the guys at B-Moto. They're one of our sponsors. They help us put together these videos. They give us a chance to come out and ride these bikes and make this content. They also are really good for insurance, stuff like this. Any one of these specialist bikes in here, you can phone the guys at B-Moto. They'll know what you're talking about, and they'll help you get the best insurance, whether that's for looking after it when it's laid up in the living room on display, or being sent out around track days and used in the manner it should be. give them a shout. Check them out for your next bike quote. Now, Ducati 999, I can remember it coming out. I can remember being mortified about what it looked like, which I just want to go and find 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 20-year-old Chris, or whatever I was back then, and just give him a proper slap, because it just looks phenomenal now. If Ducati bought that out tomorrow, you wouldn't think the styling was out of date. I think that's incredible for a 20-year-old bike. There's nothing else like it. It is a really striking bit of design. And then throughout the bike, the way the side stand is fared up into the lower bodywork, the way you've got these floating kind of winglet panels on the side. Wings on a motorcycle, huh? Imagine that. 2005, 6, and Ducati did it on the 999. Likewise, these fared in mirrors with the indicators. Lots and lots of little details that make it look and feel very, very special and certainly really unique. That continues the minute you swing a leg over it. It is long, it is spacious. Ruben Zaus rode this thing, the giant gangly lunatic that he is, and it was probably the best fitting sports bike he ever swung a leg over. The first time I hit the throttle on it, I slid to the back of the seat and I almost Supermaned off the handlebars. It's so big. For me, it's almost uncomfortably long and big. For a taller rider, it's perfect. It's actually a really comfy sports bike. Then there's the engine. It's kind of everything I love about these earlier Ducati V-twins. It's no secret that the 998R is my all-time dream bike, and this is a development of that. A bit faster, a bit more power, stronger cranks, blah 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 blah, all that stuff they did to make them more competitive in World Superbikes, which again this thing was phenomenally successful. The one thing that nagged me today is it's a little bit fluffy on the fueling. It's a really powerful bike, and when you're riding it hard and fast it was perfect, but it's quite hard work in town, and bizarrely I found it harder work than the old 998R, mainly due to the fact that I'm stretched out so far on it. But you've got to blip the throttle, you've got to keep the revs up, you've got to be quite precise on the clutch. I've probably stalled it 20 times today. There are foibles, there are little kind of chinks in the armour with it that depends. If you're in a good mood, you go, oh yeah, it's because it's a high performance race bike. It's a racing thing, it's pedigree, it's character. And if you're in a bad mood and you're tired, you just, stop doing that. So it all depends on your outlook on life. If you're a happy person, you'll learn to love its little funny issues that it has. And hey, that's what makes it a high-performance, exotic Italian sports bike. Whizzing around on the road, it is long. It is a kind of slack-feeling bike. It doesn't feel like a 600 of the same era, but it kind of flows through the bends. And in all honesty, from this point onwards, I feel like the engines completely dominated the Ducati V-twins. The 998, the engine and the chassis felt in real nice harmony. I don't know why, but just that little bit extra power on this one, the engine starts to take over the riding experience. It's a powerful thing, it revs out hard, charging up and down the gearbox. On the way back down, there's so much compression, so much engine braking. You've got to be real smooth not to end up with the back end hopping and skipping. Even just snapping the throttle shut, if the road's slippery, it's enough for it to start sliding at the rear. You've got to think about what you're doing. You've got to work hard to get the best out of this thing. And I think that's ultimately what makes it such a rewarding bike to ride on the road. It doesn't do stuff for you. It doesn't cuddle you and go, there, it's all right. If you get it right, you get a really nice run on it. If you get it wrong, it sort of tucks its head and makes Italian hand gestures at you and makes you feel about this big. It's kind of special in that way. You've got to watch your speed. These things, they're so low revving, they sound so muted compared to a screaming 4, that when you're charging along, you go fast and you expect it. But when you just purr along up and down the gears, cruising somewhere, you look down, you're always, if not over the speed limit, then very close to being over it. It just runs away with you. It's a deceptively quick motorcycle. I actually really like the 999R. It's probably a more striking and more beautiful piece of design for me than the 998. In a lot of ways, apart from, for me, the riding position and the fueling, it's a better road bike. It's a development of the bike that I love, and it is measurably better in nearly every way. If you're into motorcycles as works of art, as beautiful things to look at in your living room, this has to be at the top of the list. This is an absolutely breathtaking bit of design. There's not been much like it before or since. If you're into riding Italian V-twins on the road and you're quite tall, likewise, big, roomy bike this one, and a phenomenal thing to ride on the road. It is better in pretty much every way than the 998R it replaced, but I'd still have a 998, sorry.